All right, well, Gazprom, the Russian state-owned oil and gas company, says China will start paying for its gas with rubles and the yuan. Currently, those transactions are done with U.S. dollars. The move is part of a push by the Kremlin to reduce its reliance on Western currency. The move is also a response to sanctions placed on Russia and China. But is it a good idea? Gordon Chang says the Chinese currency and the economy could be on the brink of collapse. Chinese banks are creating debt that's growing about 7 times faster than China's nominal GDP. Chang estimates that the total amount of debt accumulated by the Chinese Communist Party could be equal to 350% of the country's gross domestic product. The U.S. also has some issues with debt, but for comparison, the U.S. debt to GDP ratio is about 130%, and the U.K. just went over 100%.
And Gordon Chang, the author of The Great U.S.-China Tech War, joins us here now to discuss this more in depth. Gordon, it's always great to have you in with us.
Thank you, Bianca.
All right, Gordon, let's talk about this budding bromance between Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. This shift by the Russians, what does it tell us actually about their relationship with China, about the U.S. dollar being the petrodollar, still being the reserve currency in the world, and their future relationship?
John, it tells us a lot because it shows that the Russians and the Chinese are much closer than people thought. Because remember, they are willing to deal with each other's currency, basically creating another currency bloc in the world, separate and apart from the dollar-based currencies. And also what we're also watching is that they're willing to deal in 2 weak currencies. Now, the ruble has been strong because of sanctions, but if you were to take the sanctions factor out, the ruble would be in trouble. And the renminbi by itself is one of the weakest currencies in the world. It's now trading close to 7 to the U.S. dollar. That's a psychological point. And we also must remember that if the Chinese central bank were to take off controls, the Chinese renminbi would just plummet. So the fact that Russia and China are willing to deal in 2 weak currencies says a lot about how they feel about the world.
Yeah, and obviously Putin earlier this year, as you probably know, Gordon, he forced the European customers to open ruble bank accounts with Gazprom Bank to pay in Russian currency if they wanted to receive Russian gas or continue. So we shouldn't be surprised that Putin is using economic warfare here as part of his leverage. I guess the bigger question is now, so this is out there, what do world leaders do then to contend with this, to go against this?
Well, the way Reagan won the Cold War was not so much the military buildup, but was getting the Saudis to drill faster. In other words, to reduce the price of hydrocarbons. And that, of course, restricted the Soviet treasury. And that was a major factor in bankrupting the Soviet Union. We could do the same thing, Bianca. But of course, the Biden administration doesn't want to go in that direction. They're increasing energy prices, which means they are enriching Putin, which is exactly the wrong way to go. But clearly, we have the means to do this. We don't have the political will, and perhaps we don't have the political smarts in Washington to do something that would really be smart. In other words, restricting the Russians and the Chinese so they couldn't engage in this dangerous and provocative behavior.
Gordon, we also want to talk about another video that you retweeted, and it shows high school students in China participating in annual mandatory military drills. According to you, they shout, and the person who tweeted this video, they shout, "Kill, kill, kill," and they vow to kill anyone who dares upset the CCP. We'll let the video play, and folks can find it on Twitter if they follow you. But this was scary stuff, Gordon.
Yes, what this shows is that Xi Jinping is not only engaging in the most rapid military buildup since the Second World War, what he's also doing is mobilizing Chinese society for battle. And we see this in a number of different ways. But one of them is this, which is just getting the Chinese people into this frenzy about killing foreigners. And of course, we have seen this in other countries lead up to big wars. This is a dangerous signal, and we should be looking at China right now as really a threat to go to war soon, because that's what they're preparing to do.
Yeah, here we're arguing over pronouns and sex ed classes, but in China, they are literally preparing for World War III in high school. That's the difference between schools in China and the schools in the U.S. right now. Gordon Chang, always great to see you.
Thanks, John and Bianca.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. September is historically the worst performing month for the stock market, so you better be ready for it. The Fed continues to aggressively raise rates, and JP Morgan is forecasting another mega rate hike September the 21st. Is that why Jamie Dimon said an economic hurricane is coming our way? Well, gold and silver have remained remarkably stable despite the Fed aggressively raising rates today. The Patriot Gold Group has a special incentive for Newsmax viewers. Huge! Now precious metals investors can enjoy the no-fee-for-life gold and silver IRA on qualifying rollovers, or enjoy free, discreet, insured shipping on all direct gold and silver purchases. Here's the number, 800-356-4470. Call 800-356-4470 today.